No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Like, there are people that we know that are affiliates of Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, these are associates of Jeffrey Epstein. So if they have been associated with Jeffrey Epstein, we will know. And there are names like Naomi Campbell and Bill Clinton that we know are associates, as in, like,
to begin to start being on.
your Indian accent needs work. I can't really do an Indian accent, so I just do classic Arab MENA. Because I don't know how to do the
Today. They will.
And I've said it before, like, you can't do an accent of like a historically colonized people if you can't do it well. Because if you do an accent of a historically colonized people and you don't do it well, then it's racist as hell. You know what I mean? Which is why some people who have done Indian accents while not being Indian did it really well and were kind of, they kind of got away with it. So well that I have met Indian people in public that were in disbelief that this person was not Indian. Like, literally, actual Indian people be like, what the fuck? You're not Indian? That's crazy. I straight up thought you were Indian. That is wild.
Contain the names of people associated with Jeffrey Epstein, the late sex offender and disgraced financier. This all comes after a New York federal judge ruled last month that there's no legal justification to conceal more than 150 names previously redacted in these documents. Now, the records are part of a settled civil defamation lawsuit relating to allegations of Epstein's former paramour, Ghislaine Maxwell, facilitated the sexual abuse of one of his victims. ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky and ABC News legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer are joining me for more on this. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Aaron, let's start here with you. We're, of course, waiting here on what would now be the 8th round of unsealed records in this case. What can you tell us about these documents so far?
The documents are all part of this defamation lawsuit that settled 6.5 years ago between Virginia Giuffre, who alleges that she was one of Epstein's trafficked victims, made to have been a sex slave and ordered by Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell to have sex with powerful men, allegations that the men who've been named publicly have denied, and Maxwell too. But this lawsuit...
Pretty wild to think that, like, a big chunk of Alan Dershowitz, the Dersh's media appearances, specifically on Fox News, revolve around, like, shitting on Virginia Giuffre. Like, there was a period in time when Alan Dershowitz the Dersh was basically on every Fox News program, and every time they had Alan Dershowitz, the Dersh, on any Fox News program, he would go on and start off, no matter how irrelevant it is, okay, no matter how irrelevant the subject matter is, by shitting on Virginia Giuffre.
It settled 6.5 years ago, and gradually the records associated with it have been unsealed. The names that are going to come out are listed as Jane and John Does, and most of them have been publicly associated with Epstein before to varying degrees. People like Prince Andrew, who Giuffre alleged she was ordered to have sex with, which he denied. They settled their own lawsuit. And people like former President Bill Clinton, who has never been accused of any wrongdoing associated with Epstein, but who flew on Epstein's private plane multiple times. So those are the kinds of names that we expect to be unmasked in records, but we've known about many of them for years.
And Brian, let's take that to you. What is your sense here on how these records remained under seal for so long in the first place, especially considering what Aaron alluded to there, that many of these names have already, in a sense, been made public?
Well, part of the names,
it's just like RFK Jr., Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, all the names that we knew already are going to be recycled, which is why, I mean, I like it, though, because ultimately it kind of shows that it is a bipartisan thing. Like, the sex trafficking of minors and the partnerships that American elite have with minor sex traffickers is bipartisan. You know, Americans align on this. And so I like covering that. or have no issues recycling that, specifically because things like this happen. Much respect to my favorite guys out there, the Midas Touch, my favorite libs.
Charges that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring in the early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey. He admired Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marla's?
She's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, you know, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I standing there with notes like...
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
Prince Andrew answering questions for the first time about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story.
Trump has been photographed with Prince Andrew as far back as the year 2000.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
Dude, what he said about Ghislaine Maxwell was also so crazy. Do you guys remember? Like, after she was arrested, he just like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Do I think Donald Trump is like a creep and a weirdo? Yes. Do I think he hung out with Jeffrey Epstein because he thought Jeffrey Epstein is like a classic liberal elite that Trump very much fancies and wants to be around? Also, yes. I think that that's what he saw. And then I think his like relationship with Jeffrey Epstein pretty, like, I mean, it ended even before Jeffrey Epstein was like, locked up the first time. Now, however, as the tweet shows that I quote tweeted, I said, Alex Acosta was a federal prosecutor who gave Epstein a secret sweetheart plea deal that allowed him to leave his prison cell the first time he was caught sex trafficking minors. Trump made Acosta his labor secretary. Clintons are, of course, incredibly connected with Epstein, so is Trump. So, like, there are definitely connections between Epstein and, like, Donald Trump, right? I do think that the Clintons are probably more connected with the Epsteins, or with Epstein himself. But it is wild to me that, you know, all the Republicans out there are just like, yeah, Donald Trump, brother, he's fine. He's a white hat pedophile. Meanwhile, the Clintons, they're the black hat pedophiles. They were doing it because they were enjoying it. Donald Trump, when he was fucking children, he wasn't enjoying it, brother. You don't get it. Like, the hell do you mean, man? If Jeffrey Epstein was executed in a federal prison under the Joe Biden administration, and Joe Biden had appointed the prosecutor that literally let Jeffrey Epstein walk with a sweetheart plea deal the first time around, if Joe Biden had made that guy his labor secretary, you'd be losing your fucking mind. You'd be like, that's enough proof. That's it. I love this. Someone said, my brother legit told me it's because Trump was undercover to expose it. And then Jamie says, dude, he was just undercover. Come on, use your common sense. It's just wild how biased Trump supporters are and how powerful that bias is my point.
Girls. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that.
Oh, that's the one, yeah.
You are one.
All right, I was going to say that. But
what?
I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
You
sure.
are one.
All right, I was going to say that. But it's true.
What are you going to do if Chomsky's on the list? Man, I don't care. I know Chomsky's on the list. What do you mean? I don't give a fuck. God, Midas Touch. Incredible work. I love Midas Touch. Nothing but bangers, baby. I love libs. Like, I love aggro libs. You know what I mean?
We don't know. Some of them could be affiliates of Jeffrey Epstein. Some of them can be Jane Does. We're seeing that in some of the filings. But in terms of the length of these records being under seal, it's all about the privacy interests of those people associated with this list, especially the Jane Does. We've already seen that 2 Jane Does have come forward since December 18th, when the judge made the ruling that this last batch of information will be released, and said, hey, I have some privacy issues as to why I believe my name should not be released. One of those Jane Does got a 30-day extension, and another one's being reviewed. But ultimately, anyone who didn't come forward or the rest of the names, there seems to be no privacy right or argument to be made, and that's why we're seeing a release at this time.
And so it's not just the names, though, or perhaps it is, Brian. I mean, what is the importance here to know that these documents will have some of these names, but they don't explicitly state, you know, how the person is associated with Epstein? Why unseal their names if that's the case?
So it's really just because people have been searching for answers to these questions since this lawsuit has been settled. And ultimately, the judge is saying, if I have no legal grounds to hold this information, if there is a request like ABC does with FOIA requests or other requests for information from cases, congressional decisions, whatever it may be, the court will make a determination as to whether or not they have any power to withhold that information. But in terms of what information we're going to get, context is going to be a big thing. It's going to depend on where.
How many clothes changes are you doing today? What do you mean? This is like the one thing that I've worn all day.
This information is grounded in the emails, call logs, travel logs. Are we just going to see that, hey, this person was called by Jeffrey Epstein, or they visited his location multiple times? It could lead to more questions and hopefully some answers.
And some real big questions about when and where these people were affiliated with him. And Aaron, to you, looking like as when we could actually see the release of these documents?
It really could come at any time. We saw an order from the judge earlier today who said that the parties have indicated they will begin the unsealing as part of her order sometime later today. So it's expected at any time. And I think Brian's context is important because many of these people may be just folks lawyers were interested in talking to as part of this long-settled lawsuit, people who may have worked for Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, or...
It got delayed to 22, just like Cyberpunk. Unlucky. Damn. Damn. Anyone thinks Carl Icahn or Larry Summers? Larry Summers is on the list. 100%. We already know that. Half of the names you're bringing up are going to be people that we know are on the list. Edits aren't finished yet, dog. No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Like, there are people that we know that are affiliates of Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, these are associates of Jeffrey Epstein. So if they have been associated with Jeffrey Epstein, we will know. And there are names like Naomi Campbell and Bill Clinton that we know are associates, as in, like, they've been around Jeffrey Epstein.
People who may well have been victims of his alleged
Noam
sex
Chomsky.
trafficking. So many of the names, some of them bold-faced, some of them not, many of them have long been associated with Epstein. And in fact, some of them may well have already testified at trial when Maxwell was convicted of aiding Epstein's deviant sexual behavior.
All right, Aaron and Brian, our thanks
What?
to you as always.
Hi, everyone. George.
Yo, that I did not know. What the hell? Stephen Hawking pictured on Jeffrey Epstein's sex slave Caribbean island? Renowned British theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking enjoys a barbecue on Jeffrey Epstein's Caribbean island, Little St. James, while attending a conference on gravity organized for 21 of the world's top physicists by Epstein's Foundation on neighboring. Dude, what? Hawking had a thick 8 and laid mad pipe, it is known. Chatter, you will not see the pearly gates. You are going straight to hell, man. I didn't know this. I didn't know that this is old news apparently. Holy moly, that is something else. Yeah, dude, his wife divorced him for cheating with his aide. Yeah, I thought that was a bit. Like, I thought Nick Mullen was lying about that. Like, I thought he made that up as like a funny bit on his special. He went to sex clubs and shit? Wait, what? Bro, how? What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? He can't move, chatters. He can't move any of his muscles. Like, what are you talking about? What was he fucking with, dude? His dick works? He had a thick 8. This is no, stop. Stop saying Stephen Hawking's had a thick 8. The celebrated astrophysicist is a regular at a sex club in California, according to media reports. 70-year-old, almost completely paralyzed by the neurological disorder known as motor neuron disease, frequents a San Bernardino swingers club called Freedom Acres. A longtime member of the club told Radar Online, what the fuck? How? Very ableist? Bro, I'm sorry. This isn't ableist. This is fascinating, okay? Like, I'm not being ableist. I'm fascinated. Because, like, we're not talking about someone who is like paralyzed on the neck down or something. Like, he has like a very, bro, why do you think he has this laptop in front of him? Like, his vocal cords don't work, man. So if your vocal cords don't work, how the fuck is his like dick operating normally? Bill Ackman getting ahead of Jeffrey Epstein's list. Yeah, I mean, he already did this. Yeah, he told hedge fund manager told Joy Ito to keep his wife's name out of the Epstein saga. Bill Ackman's wife maintained her close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein long after his conviction on child trafficking and rape and solicited a massive donation from him, which she intentionally kept secret. Ackman then demanded journalists not report it. People still have sexual desires and experiences if their genitals don't function. No, I know. I mean, I get that. I'm saying you're misunderstanding my question. My question isn't, oh my God, he still has sexual desires. My question is, mechanically, how does this work? Because I understand how it works for quadriplegic people. For example, we talked about like the prod. Like you can get G-spot stimulation, things like that. There's needle-based erectile medication for this? That's crazy. He arrives in an entourage of nurses and assistants. Last time I saw him, he was in the back play area playing on a bed, fully clothed with 2 naked women gyrating all over him. Yo, that's crazy. I mean, good on him. First of all, that is like unironically ethical sex work. This is, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Dutch government has a stipend for people with like Down syndrome and other kinds of severe mental health issues and severe disabilities that they offer specifically so they can go and use it on sex work. This is like super cutting edge stuff that we can't even begin to broach here in the United States of America. Yeah. Bro, why do you know this shit though? What do you mean? I'm an advocate for sex work and sex workers. So yes, I'm familiar with like the fascinating world and different rules and regulations. Stephen Hawking cheated on his wife with his nurse. The nurse's husband was the one who invented the technology that Hawking used to speak. Homie used the technology to speak game and fuck the inventor's wife. Dude, you are playing with fire at that point, okay? That's crazy. The guy that gave you voice, you wronged like that, he could take it away, dog. What are you doing? Steven, don't.
Soon, a federal judge is expected to release the names of dozens of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims and associates. And now comedian Jimmy Kimmel is threatening a lawsuit against New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers for insinuating without any evidence at all that Kimmel's name might be in those documents. This is what Rodgers said in a radio show.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
Again, we didn't play it to amplify it. We played it so you could see what was said here. Kimmel responded saying, in part, for the record, I have not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name in any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality.
Can I say something? Jimmy Kimmel is so fucking washed, bro. Like, you're a comedian, really? And that's the best you cooked up? Like, you should have just kept that in the drafts and come back with something so fire that, like, you caused Aaron Rodgers to get vaccinated, okay? Like, what are you, soft-brained wacko? Like, come on, dude. What are you wiping the tears away? This man has very publicly defamed you, okay? But Aaron Rodgers is the most target-rich environment, dog. Straight up. Like, you can't have a better own on Aaron Rodgers? Aaron vaccinated, I am inoculated Rodgers? Aaron, I took peyote to make the decision to go to the Jets Rodgers? Aaron, I played one fucking game and immediately got injured and destroyed. All hopes of the Jets fandom Rodgers? Played 4 plays, man. You got nothing. 4 plays. I don't even watch football. I don't watch any football whatsoever. If I know this much about Aaron Rodgers, you should be able to cook him up. Slice and dice. I cannot believe that Jimmy Kimmel was given a phenomenal opportunity. You're a cruel person? Wait, why? Free Aaron? How are you still riding for him when he does not ride for you, Will? He does not ride for you. Aaron 4 plays Rodgers. Listen. If he took the Jets to the Super Bowl, I'd be right there with you talking about how, you know what, maybe there is some truth to this whole vaccine conspiracy, you know what I mean? Died suddenly type shit. I think they put the vaccine in his water before the game. It weakened his body. I'm just saying, this is really bad. Like, Jimmy Kimmel is supposed to be like a famous comedian. Come on, man. You're one of the top late night talk show hosts. Like, really? This is what you got for Aaron? Aaron is like a meme in and of himself.
Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts further in court.
Yeah, and then he hit him with the, I'll see you in court, buddy. Like, come on.
Now, clearly, CNN, no one has any reporting that Kimmel is linked in any way to the Epstein case. There was some bad blood, it's notable, between Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel because of jokes that Kimmel had made criticizing Rodgers for pushing conspiracy theories. Here now, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson. And Joey, the reason I wanted you to talk about this was the issue of defamation. You know, what Aaron Rodgers said has no basis in fact, no evidence to support it. When does something like that become defamation?
Yeah, John, important question to be answered for sure. So what happens is remember what defamation is. It's a false statement that is injurious to someone's reputation. And as a result of that, it can cause the person great reputational damage. When you talk about defamation as it relates to public, Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron.
I'm sorry, but if your lawyer has these two paintings in the background, get a different lawyer. You know what I mean? You're going to jail. Okay. What is this NFT ass painting in the background, bro? What is happening? Who decorated this house? What's going on, man?
Rodgers are, you have to show what's called actual malice. What on earth does that mean? You have to show knowledge that you made the statement knowing it was false, or just reckless disregard as to whether it was false or true. So it's a very—
I bet you he's a cat person. Oh, you think?
Heightened standard. At the end of the day, though, I don't think it's yet ripe, right, for any defamation claim. Certainly no one would want to be listed, talked about in the same sentence of, right, in terms of Epstein. But when you talk about defamation, one defense is absolute truth. If in the event it's true, it may be a terrible thing that someone said, but you know what? It's not defamatory. The list hasn't been published yet. And so, you know, we'll see, not to suggest at all that anybody's name, whether it be Kimmel or Aaron Rodgers, would be on that list at all. But, you know, it's not ripe yet to the extent that when the list is published, everyone will get to see for themselves who specifically is on it, John, and who's not.
Well, when Jimmy Kimmel, as he says, his name is not on that list, does it then become a legal issue that Aaron Rodgers said it without any basis apparently whatsoever?
So here's the issue with that, right? Remember that if defamation is to injure reputation, certainly you shouldn't be saying anything, right, that is injurious to anyone, whether they be public figures, private figures, or anything else. The problem with defamation in that regard, though, John, is as follows. Let's just say he's not on the list. That is, Jimmy Kimmel is not on the list, as he suggests he would never be on such a list. Then the world would know that this is just a bad blood argument. And you can't argue then, if you're Jimmy Kimmel, that it's injurious to your reputation, because in essence, you're cleared as a result of a list being published to show that you're not on it. So I don't see any reputational damage there. As you mentioned at the outset, there's no love lost between them. Kimmel has made some jokes about Aaron Rodgers that he has not appreciated, including how he's worn, that is Aaron Rodgers, his hair. And so they've gone back and forth. And I think the public may just take that as this and not anything in terms of, you know, mean-spirited or to rise to the level. Well, you can argue it's mean-spirited, but to rise to the level of defamation, you know, story.
He's 100% correct. Also a higher standard for public figures. Also a higher standard for a public figure who's a comedian who's also dunked on this other person, which is precisely why I said, what are you doing to Jimmy Kimmel? Like, come on, dog. You could have done a way better job with this. Like, you could have had an incredible ride on the PR train, dunking on literally the worst guy. Like, the easiest person to slam, dude. Like, just take a couple hours off and, like, really go talk to your comedy writers. You know, come up with something good. Legal eagle, legal lion. Dude, anytime someone says lion, in my mind, I constantly think of India Lion 2, sir. I can't stop thinking about that fucking tweet. I don't know why. It's like permanently burned into my mind, dude. Every time I see every time I see someone bring up the word lion, Indian Twitter broke my brain. India a lion too, sir. India lion too, sir. It's like, I don't know where it originated from, but it's Indian Twitter was like popping off against Palestine and defending Israel. No, that's not. This is a reference to that tweet. Muslim countries would butcher every single non-Muslim person if they got the chance. I'm not going to trust any of these psychopath theocrats. India a lion too, sir. Anyway, it was some dude on Indian Twitter. It was some dude on Indian Twitter responding to like some insane genocidal tweet by by an Israeli account. Have you guys never seen Hindu nationalists, like how they operate on Twitter? I feel like you're not in the same circles as me. Like, you don't tweet enough about Palestine because there will be like a barrage. No, not that one. That one was the other Indian Twitter that used to be in my mind all the time. But nowadays, that I only think India a lion too, sir. Self-reporting, spending too much time on Twitter. Yeah. Oh, here. Let's see what Pat McAfee said.
Whenever you're freewheeling and dealing in here, you know, and you're having conversations,
letting it fly.
They can certainly lead to some places that cause like international news and things like that. And whenever there's accusations made about people, that can lead to lawsuits. Now, have been in one before.
Yes.
With Brett Favre. Now, how'd that case end? Well, it ended with me having to read a letter, basically stating that I know nothing that anybody else doesn't know publicly already, that I'm not in the know for that whole thing. And then that was kind of disappeared, but that was a big thing for a long time. Yeah. How did that come? Well, we just started making jokes about stuff. We started talking shit about stuff. And then our show, I think that is a good part of what we do, is we're able to kind of just roll with the punches. We're able to have a good time. We're all rather...
There ain't no way Pat McAfee was successfully sued by Brett Favre? What court? Under what legal system did Brett Favre win? No, they probably sent him a cease and desist, and then he absolutely caved, right? There's no way. Especially because Brett Favre is a criminal. And most things that you say about him, like, the improper dealings with, like, tax dollars that he got and reappropriated instead of towards charity. He reappropriated to his pocket, like things like that. All that stuff is just like facts, right? Am I wrong?
Invested and studied in what's happening around the sports world at all times. Caitlin Clark last night.
Hell yeah. Unreal.
Wait till you hear about Luke Littler today.
Dog.
So we are very much in that world. So everybody that comes on the stage has to be able to, like, basically keep up with where we're headed. There's no there's no formal outline of what we're going to talk about, how we're going to talk about it. There's no A block, B block, C block. There's no scheduled conversations. There's no scheduled debates. There's no topics for you to think about before you get in there. There is just an opportunity to talk about damn near everything for 3.5 hours. And in doing so, the upside of that is some magic can come that you never knew was going to come.
Absolutely.
Good times can be had, laughs can be had, especially when you're rolling on like 2 hours of sleep like we were yesterday after the Rose Bowl. You can have a blast. And on the flip side, there could be some things that were certainly probably, we're going to have to hear from Aaron on that, meant to be shit talk joke that can then become something that is obviously a very serious allegation that then leads to a massive overnight story, one in which, put baby down, sleep, haven't seen her in a while, and then I pick up my phone. Boy. But I can see exactly why Jimmy Kimmel felt the way he felt, especially with his position. But I think Aaron was just trying to talk shit. Now, did it go too far? And a lot of people... Jimmy Kimmel certainly said that was the case. We and I immediately upon it happening, trying to be like, ooh, But that is Aaron and Jimmy. They've been...
jousting a bit.
I don't know,
Dude, come on, Pat. Stop being such a coward, dog. Say it with your chest, homie. What is this? He's trying to manage the situation so hard. I feel like Brett Favre did a number on him. Why is he so cucked to Aaron Rodgers? Like I guess Aaron Rodgers gives him clicks. Because, like, when Aaron Rodgers is on, it's like, you're going to say some dumb shit. Pat McAfee for next Harvard president. Because players have always been treated like that. They're the content, etc. Yeah.
So, like, we obviously don't like the fact that we're associated with anything negative ever. We like our show to be an uplifting one, a happy one, a fun one, but it's because we talk shit and try to make light of everything. Some things, obviously, people get very pissed.
Yeah, last time he was on the show, or I guess, like, not the last time, because Aaron Rodgers is on the show all the time, but he popped off because he called Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer. So I'm sure Pat loves that Aaron Rodgers keeps coming on and talking shit, because there's a tremendous amount of clicks that come along with Aaron Rodgers being an absolute idiot. Yeah, I know why he called Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer, because Travis Kelce was doing commercials for Pfizer, yes. Dude, honestly, I should just get into sports. I feel like ultimately, maybe I should just become a sports nerd or something. Because I feel like the audience there is so much more understanding. Like, sure, they'll cry and complain if I, say something wrong about their favorite team or whatever. But I do feel like sports Twitter in general is like, they're vicious, but at least there's way more understanding about things like the top of the hour ad break. You know what I mean? There is no group of individuals that get ripped all day, every day, harder than the sports guys, okay? Like, they have been able to slowly but surely put gambling into sports, which has genuinely, in my opinion, corrupted the entire process, made the sport worse in general. And yet, guys who appreciate sports still go along with that garbo. Ridiculous. Anyway, be an NBA fan. You're not even a sports fan. How can you say it's better or worse? I can. We are single-handedly keeping television afloat. It's all ref ball now. Refs are betting on the games. See? They started. It's all scripted, dog. It's all scripted. Like the top of the hour ad break is scripted. It comes at the top of the hour. However, if you are subscribed, you won't see the top of the hour ad break, and you'll continue thinking it's scripted. Here's the ad break now. My favorite tweet of yours making fun of sports fans. Bro, for this tweet, I got doxxed. I said football weebs are worse than anime weebs because they haven't been bullied. I got doxxed. People were like doing the same shit. Yeah, bro. NBA Reddit has generational jokes though. No, I love NBA. I love sports Twitter memes in general. Like I love get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. I love the Chris Paul memes. I think they're abysmal. They're awful. I'm not going to say why they're funny or what it is. If you don't know what it is, then don't worry about it. I love using sports Twitter memes in an inappropriate way. Like there was one about, there was one that like put up, I think it was like the one that put up like Netanyahu's stats. Like genocide stats. Had to mute for a work meeting and open back up, expecting to still be on Harvard stuff. And Pat McAfee here had to do a double take. Yes, because Pat McAfee is going to be the best. He's going to be the new president.
Pissed off about, especially when they're that serious allegations. So we apologize for being a part of it. Can't wait to hear what Aaron has to say about it. Hopefully those two will just be able to settle this, not court-wise, but be able to chit-chat, move along. Because remember, you're allowed to disagree with people's opinions. You're allowed to say like, I don't. You sound dumb. The more and more you talk, you sound dumber and dumber. And then you're allowed to just move on.
Pat McAfee knows to condemn Hamas. What? A man attacked a Las Vegas judge in her courtroom during his sentencing. The judge is reportedly okay. I've never seen someone who signed this guy up for something. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the amount of air this man got. Respect. Pat McAbee. I mean, he's jacked, and I respect that. That's the other thing. All the sports guys that are jacked, I respect.
Jimmy Kimmel, in his social media statement, did point out, if you continue this, basically, I will see you in court. If Aaron Rodgers were to say anything else, how would that contribute to possible legal jeopardy or civil liability?
Yeah. Sure. So it would depend upon what is said, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, right? And you have to look at everything in context. I think the argument will be made, right? The context of this, of course, is that Jimmy Kimmel, when he makes his comments and statements, it's comedic in nature. Not to suggest comedians can injure someone. They certainly can, particularly when you have a platform like him. So, too, Aaron Rodgers has a tremendous platform, and you have to be careful about what you say. And so to the extent.
Quick question. Is anyone really saying that gays shouldn't be criticized for plagiarism? It's not a partisan issue? What? No, I'm saying crying and complaining about Claudine Gay being a serial plagiarizer is being duped by right-wing reactionaries. That's it. I don't personally care. As a matter of fact, I'll take it back. I'm happy that she had to resign. Okay? Sucks.
That there is no such list that includes Jimmy Kimmel, and Aaron Rodgers would continue to propagate that. Now it could rise to the level, because he's not there, that it's now a lie. Remember what defamation is, just to reset, right? False statement that is injurious to your reputation. You keep repeating something, guess what? In this world, John, people get to believe it's true. Now you may have a cause of action. But I just think it's a feud between two people who probably have had enough of each other.
Joey Jackson, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.